When Chicago Fire lost Brian Otis Zonzek in Season 8, it was a devastating blow that reverberated through the firehouse and the fanbase. Yuri Sardarov's character was more than just comic relief. He was the glue that held many of the show's relationships together. Otis brought heart, humanity, and a quirky brilliance to Firehouse 51, and his absence created a void that's never quite been filled. The show had a golden opportunity to heal that wound and pass the torch, an opportunity it let slip through its fingers. In the aftermath of Otis's death, fans braced themselves for a suitable replacement, someone who could bring that unique mix of warmth, loyalty, and lovable weirdness to the firehouse. For a moment, it looked like that might happen. Enter Blake Gallo. When Gallo, played by Alberto Rosend, first appeared on the scene, he was full of youthful energy, raw enthusiasm, and a chip on his shoulder. He was gutsy, reckless at times, but undeniably passionate about the job. His tragic backstory, a young man orphaned at a young age and raised by relatives, gave him a depth that could have evolved into a powerful arc. He even shared a bit of Otis's innocence, that spark of idealism that the firehouse had sorely missed. But Gallo, instead of growing into a central emotional pillar, was written as more of a daredevil with unpredictable behavior. His development stalled somewhere between comic relief and angst-ridden hotshot. And in doing so, Chicago Fire fumbled what could have been a heartwarming evolution. The writers had the perfect opportunity to groom Gallo as the next Otis, not by copying his personality, but by creating a journey of mentorship, bonding, and belonging that paralleled the sense of family Otis once offered. That never happened. And then came Darren Ritter. Ritter, played by Daniel Keary, was another character who briefly shined as a possible successor to Otis's spirit. Soft-spoken, loyal, and thoughtful, Ritter embodied the quiet strength that Otis once carried. His relationship with Mouch had the potential to be the new Otis-Mouch bromance, seasoned firefighter guiding a newer recruit, exchanging banter and camaraderie that reminded fans of the good old days. Instead, Ritter was often relegated to the background, his personal life hinted at but never deeply explored. Despite Daniel Keary's heartfelt performance, the writing never gave Ritter the platform to grow into a true core character. Perhaps the most bittersweet part of this missed opportunity is how the show flirted with the idea of legacy, but never committed to it. When Cruz named his son Brian, after Otis, it was a powerful moment. For a second, it seemed like Chicago Fire would lean into legacy building, setting up a future where characters carry the torch, literally and metaphorically. But beyond that touching tribute, Otis's memory faded into the background. His name is rarely mentioned. His absence is rarely felt in ways that matter to the storylines. The ghost of Otis lingers, but instead of being honored through character growth or a spiritual successor, he's become a fading photograph on the locker room wall. Chicago Fire has always been about more than just fires and explosions. It's about the family that forms in the heat of tragedy and triumph. The show understands loss. Otis's death was beautifully executed and heartbreakingly real. But where it faltered was in the rebuilding. Loss without renewal leaves a hole. And fans watched for seasons as the hole left by Otis remained conspicuously empty. There was a window of time, right after his death, when the firehouse could have naturally pulled a younger, eager member into the core. Gallo could have been shaped by Cruz, Herman, and even Bowden. We could have seen a slow-burning transformation from reckless rookie to thoughtful firefighter with a cause. Ritter could have been given a subplot of leadership, stepping up and bridging the old generation with the new. Instead, both characters stayed peripheral, their arcs fragmented and lacking the emotional weight Otis brought every episode. In a show that thrives on loyalty, love, and legacy. It's odd that Chicago Fire has been so hesitant to create a character who could truly fill the emotional space Otis once occupied. Not replace him, because no one could, but honor him by reflecting his values: compassion, friendship, and a deep love of the job. The mischance isn't just about casting or dialogue. It's about the heart of the firehouse, a heart that used to beat stronger when Otis was around. There were creative avenues the show could have taken. Imagine an episode where Cruz mentors Gallo through a crisis that mirrors something Otis once faced. Or an emotional arc where Ritter finds Otis's old journal, filled with his thoughts about Firehouse 51. These small touches could have helped root the newer characters in the show's emotional foundation. Instead, the Benton was
Chicago
never
Fire
missed its perfect chance at replacing a beloved character. Ignoring concerns about upcoming cast changes in Chicago Fire, the series snubbed its chance to cast a much-needed replacement for a Firehouse favorite who tragically passed years ago. It's no great secret that the Chicago Fire cast is in a period of upheaval. Ritter and Carver are meant to depart in Chicago Fire Season 14, hopefully with their lives intact. Speculation abounds regarding how Carver and Ritter might be written out, with the Chicago Fire Season 13 finale offering little in the way of answers. But not every departed character plays a vital enough role on the crew to necessitate an immediate replacement. Unfortunately, that means one beloved character who sadly perished off-screen has yet to receive a proper substitute. While Stella Ride's Chicago Fire pregnancy will bring one bundle of joy to Firehouse 51 in the near future, Stella Kid's first baby on the show was Darren Ritter's rambunctious polka-dotted puppy, Tuesday. Although not everyone, particularly Herman, supported the nerve-wracked Pooch's presence when she was first introduced in Season 7, she quickly won the hearts of the entire 51 family. It's worth noting that Tuesday wasn't the first Firehouse dog in Chicago Fire. That honor belongs to Pouch, who appeared for a few episodes in Season 4 before finding his forever home. But a Dalmatian is naturally a more classic fit for a firehouse, and Chicago Fire gave Tuesday her own side stories to keep her from feeling like a mere prop. She was lovably chaotic, tearing through the station whenever Ritter tried to leash her. Stella, Tuesday's biggest fan, tried to train her for a talent competition, and the result was that Tuesday was publicly accused of mauling a little girl for adorably licking peanut butter off of her face. Her real-world death after Season 10 left a void. After his owner's leg was eviscerated in a freak accident, Fridge found a temporary home at the 51 thanks to Carver taking him in and Kid getting Pascal's permission. Carver leaned into Fridge's companionship until he was ready to tell his friends that Tori left him, and he likely would have kept Fridge for good had the owner not survived. Not only did everyone from Truck to Ambo embrace Fridge immediately, but it seems that Fridge had a prior relationship with Chicago Fire itself. During the stop, drop, and roll talent contest, a dog with seemingly identical markings stands just behind Tuesday, as pictured in this article's first gallery. Clearly, some clairvoyant knew the 51 would need a backup dog. If Pouch made the concept of a firehouse dog enjoyable, Tuesday made it borderline essential. Stella's 10 times brighter when Tuesday's in the room, and Herman goes from being her biggest detractor to one of her most eager supporters. And with Ritter's Chicago Fire exit impending, replacing Tuesday is a way of preserving the spirit Darren brought to the 51. And just as Fridge appeared at one of Carver's low points, a new firehouse dog could be a source of relief and comfort in a station house that's consistently besieged by tragedy. With Monica's death still fresh, and with Carver and Violet's Chicago Fire romance seemingly nearing its end, the crew could benefit from a wagging tail and a friendly face. Network dramas can be emotionally compelling, but they require bright spots amid the darkness. Chicago Fire can milk a lot of this out of Herman, arguing about certs and Uber ratings, or Novak teasing Damon about his unwillingness to commit. But nothing sells happiness like a dog. With Pouch, Fridge, and Tuesday gone, it's time for a more permanent replacement.